I never thought I would say this sentence, but people are leaving Austin, Texas. Here are 7 reasons why. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'd love if you hit subscribe, hit the bell down below. I make a lot of videos like this on Austin, but also travel and being a digital nomad. I'm starting with reason number 7 and working my way back to number 1. So make sure you watch until the end of the video to see why people are leaving Austin. The first reason people are leaving is the traffic. Austin was not really meant to have as many people move into the city as there have been over the past decade or so. Frankly, the infrastructure did not keep up with the growth of the city, and there is traffic. Really bad traffic, which has actually gotten better since COVID due to working from home and everything, but nonetheless, a lot of traffic, and it takes a long time to get from one side of the city to the other, especially during rush hour, which is causing a lot of people to actually leave Austin, because actually a big thing that attracted people to move to Austin originally was the fact that it was a smaller town and had that small town vibe. But as more people moved in, the traffic has gotten worse and it's become more congested. The 6th reason people are leaving Austin is the weather. It is the middle of summer right now here in Austin, and I'm not gonna lie, I try to escape Austin during the summer as much as I can. I've actually been gone for 2 months. I was in Puerto Rico and in Europe, but I came back recently and I honestly cannot wait to get out of the city again. I love it here, but it is brutally hot. You cannot walk outside without breaking a huge sweat. And it's almost impossible to walk anywhere, which makes it hard to do outdoors activities unless you're near the water and all those things. But the weather is really harsh. So if you are planning to move to Austin and you think the weather is great in the fall and the spring, which it is, spend some time in the summer before you make that decision. And also not just the summer, but in the winter, we've been having really severe ice storms and power outages and all of that, which is honestly kind of concerning, along with more tornadoes happening in the city as well. So the weather is a deterrent of people and causing people to actually leave Austin. The 5th reason people are leaving Austin is density and overpopulation. The city used to be quite calm and it was a small town. You would know everybody. You could go into your bars on 6th Street, into restaurants, and it was really close-knit. However, now if you go anywhere, it's super crowded. It's hard to get reservations. There's a lot of people in public spaces, and parking and driving, like I said before, is a lot different. It's harder to move around the city. I live downtown and I do find it more difficult to go out on weekends, and I get a little bit more overwhelmed because there are so many people here visiting and also living here, which is great in some ways, but in a lot of ways it is a little claustrophobic, and a lot of people moved here to have that small town vibe and to kind of have more space for themselves. But because of the overpopulation and the density, a lot of people are leaving. That leads into my 4th reason people are leaving is that it is expensive. Austin used to be extremely affordable. It was a sleepy musician town for artists and people who were kind of roughing it, I guess. But as the tech scene has grown, as more companies have moved their headquarters here and salaries have risen, it's become expensive. Rent is expensive, buying property is very expensive, and it's become very sprawling, meaning that people aren't really living in Austin. They're living in Cedar Park or in South Austin, closer to Buda, and they're still considering it Austin. However, it's not really in the city limits. To live within Austin in the city limits, the rent is going to cost more, and so is buying property, which is really unfortunate and disheartening for people who are locals and who grew up here and who have their family here, because it's harder for them to buy property or outbid a lot of the people moving from California who are coming here for the tax incentives and whatnot, because it's so expensive. And that's causing people to leave because they frankly can't afford the price of property and the cost of rent and living. This kind of leads into my 3rd reason people are leaving is there is a bit of a job market crash. People have gotten laid off from a lot of tech companies and big companies here in Austin, and it's kind of a domino effect across the world, but the economy has changed quite a bit recently, and because of the higher cost of living paired with people losing their jobs and getting laid off, people are having to leave Austin, and that's really sad because people usually moved here because they got jobs here because the economy was growing, but they're getting pushed out now because it's taking a turn. And of course, everything goes in cycles. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but hopefully it goes back up again and it doesn't affect too many more people. But we're already seeing the effects of this job market crash on the housing market. So I'm curious to see how the prices of houses and rent are affected in the future because of this, but I will keep you posted on that. Let me know if you have any opinions or questions on that down below. And while we're talking about down below, give this video a big thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. But let's get into reason number 2. Austin is not that walkable. They want to live in a more walkable city. Unfortunately, Austin isn't that walkable unless you live downtown. Even then, so it's not too walkable these days because it is so hot outside. So you have to drive a car, and there's not great public transportation either in the city, which causes you to have to Uber or figure out different ways to get around. And a lot of people that live downtown are very healthy. They like to be active and to kind of have that lifestyle. But with all of the things happening in town these days, the crime rate has gone up as well. I don't want to get too deep into that, but that is also an issue and causing people to not feel as safe walking around. Definitely, if you do live here, be careful when you're walking around, use the buddy system, be aware of your surroundings, don't have your headphones in, etc. But a lot of people who moved here because Austin was a safe and small town are not feeling that way anymore and are now leaving. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I left the best for last, and this is the number 1 reason people are leaving Austin. There is a stark separation between the old Austin and the new Austin, and it is the vibe. We're all about vibes on this channel, but the old Austin had a very distinct and different vibe and sense of community, and the atmosphere of the city was very different. Even if you look at South by Southwest, how it was 10, 15 years ago, or these music festivals, and just like the music scene in general, because Austin, of course, is the live music capital of the world, it is extremely different now than it was then. This year during South by, it was very corporate. There were a lot of big events that were very exclusive, and a lot of tech things going on, not so much small venues having local bands, people exploring new types of music. It was more of a scene, and that's kind of what Austin is now. It's more sceney, there's more trendy spots, and I love this side of Austin too, I'm not gonna lie, and I have a lot of content on it, especially because I have a series called Hotspots, and I have a whole itinerary of the hotspots in Austin, which is great, but also we're losing that weird culture of Austin, and that is really sad. But of course, cities, like all things, evolve over time, and this is what Austin is evolving into. But a lot of my friends and just people around the city are talking about how the vibe of Austin is changing and it's becoming very mainstream, and there's different things that people are not loving about it. And I do know quite a few people who are leaving Austin because of that. So these are 7 reasons why people are leaving Austin. There are a few more that I can think of off the top of my head, but if you can think of any, leave them in the comments down below. And what's your opinion of the new Austin and what is happening in this town? Do you live here? Are you planning to move here? Did you used to live here and you left for these reasons or other reasons? I'm really curious to know because I've been in Austin since I was a teenager. Austin is my home and I love it here, but I also have mixed feelings about it because I've seen all the changes progress since 2010 when I moved here, and even prior when I would visit as a younger child. But for where I'm at in my life right now and what I'm doing with my business and as a digital nomad, Austin is a great base for me, and there are a lot of things that I love, and I have plenty of other videos on Austin on my channel, so make sure you check out my playlist on Austin, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any of my uploads, and let me know what you want to see from me as well. Check out my Austin hotspot itinerary where I have all the information about everything to do in Austin. But thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. Connect with me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm super active there, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.